Okay, welcome to EPIC Lesson 7, Expressiveness, meaning what you say. Actually, this is part 2 of advanced intonation and expressiveness. It could almost be getting better at understanding what other people mean. Uh, this Lesson 7, although we'll be doing the usual MT4s with movement and gesture and speaking, that really makes people find the value in this one is being better at kind of listening and kind of being able to like record or understand or almost analyze what other people are saying as well. So this one is kind of works both ways. But again, part 2. This one's fun. Um, I don't have a guitar with me. Again, fortunately for this lesson, we don't have a theme song. You'll have to go back and replay the theme song from lesson 7. But we have a little warm up. It's kind of a bit of a song. In fact, it came from a student that I had who was, I was working on her English, but she was a Italian and Spanish and Italian speaker. And she had taken a line from one of our exercises and kind of worked it around a bit so that she could work on this nasal resonance like we have done 2 or 3 times in the past. And here's a real good one. You can do this one. I'll show you how you do this one. It's a good one to warm up with, or warm up with a song or something before you get started. So this one goes like this. It's kind of fun. It goes, so what you're trying to do is put as much resonance on the nasals, on the N's as you can, N's and M's and Ng's as possible. So peanut butter, tongue, and sandwich, yum. Then we can do that lower pitch. Peanut butter, tongue, and sandwich, yum. Back up to mid pitch. Peanut butter, tongue, and sandwich, yum. Do the high pitch. Peanut butter, gum, and sandwich, yum. Well, on that one, my nose was vibrating like mad. Anyway, there's the idea. I would do that one like 2 or 3 times. And what'll happen often is that if your voice is kind of worn out during the day, just doing that exercise, concentrating on that nasal resonance will bring your voice back to clarity. Even for me, just doing it just once, my voice feels better. Okay. So objectives, be more expressive, and as I said, be better at recognizing what people are expressing themselves with some of these different tone and movement patterns. Second one is key. That's what I just did with mid, high, mid, and low, like pitch, like in music. So we'll be bringing those into the embodied oral readings in this lesson. And this, again, the third one is making your speaking style warmer and more interesting. Well, again, adding this kind of color and more emotion in your speech is often really valuable, but that's kind of what this is about. A lot of this, actually, a lot of this lesson has to do with putting emotion, more emotion into speaking these MT4s. And the last one is be able to connect with another speaker well. And notice in parentheses there, we have the word mirroring. And what I mean by that is that, like with the things in lesson 7, many of these you can match. Like you can match the person you're speaking with. If they're speaking in a low voice, you can kind of do a low voice. If their body movements are smooth and flowing, you can do the same thing. If they're a little more rapid, you can kind of synchronize with their body and with their voice and with their rhythm, those sorts of things. You'll see in the embodied oral reading that there are 2 speakers who kind of have very different sort of emotional understanding or emotional communication in the embodied oral reading. Remember last week from lesson 6, we had those 5 MT4s. Remember there was the falling, like get funny notes here from it. Like good to see you. Good to see you. Remember those two touches? Because see you, see you. Right? Then we got rising. Good to see you. Good to see. So it's E, see you. So you're moving on the vowel. E. Good to see you. Got flat. Good to see you. Good to see you. When you really don't mean it. And fall rise. Good to see you. Let's get a little more interest. Maybe even you're not really that interested. And of course, everybody's favorite MT4, rise fall. Good to see you. Good to see you. So it's EU, E, going all the way over the hand on the vowel. The most important thing there is that on all of these MT4s, most of the movement goes on in the vowel, not doesn't continue much beyond that. So you want to think in those terms. So in this lesson, we will have, as you saw above, key. It's like pitch in music, low, mid, and high. And what we'll do is in the embodied oral readings, it will guide you as to which, where you want the pitch of your voice to be. This, as you'll see, there are two different people speaking very differently. And that's kind of how that works. You can practice that. Next one is kind of interesting. This is what we call the secondary stress. And many times, instead of having two rhythm groups, we do it as one. We do it as one rhythm group, but there's still for example, in the first rhythm group, there's still the most important word or the strongest word. And so we kind of bring those together. And what these MT4s are, is a way to almost like combine two rhythm groups. And the first one is a mini fall rise. For example, let's say we're going to do that's funny. So maybe that's right. That's funny. That's funny. That's funny. Going down and up. Then we have so a little bit, it's kind of abrupt. Then mini thump. We call it mini hump. Mini hump is just like a little circle. You know, that's funny. That's funny. See, it's smooth. That's funny. Smoother one. Then we got a loop. There's a lot of energy. That's funny. That's funny. That's funny. So complete loop. And we got the thumb flick. Remember thumb flick? The lightest possible emphasis on that first rhythm group. So thumb goes toward the heart, right? That's funny. It's funny. That's funny. You can hardly even hear it. That's funny. But again, there's more energy there than like you could do. That's funny. That's funny. There you can't hear that at all, right? But if I have a bit of emphasis, that's funny. That's funny. A little bit more, just bringing a little more emphasis on the word that in that sentence. You can practice it with, I use funny, there's fascinating, same thing. Then the last one we have is final fall. And the meaning here is I'm finished with that topic, or I'm finished speaking, or I'm done. I'm cooked. So something like, oh man, I'm done for the day. And notice, could you hear that down there? Yeah. My hands are going all the way down and landing on my quadriceps. So it's something like, I'm done for the day. And my hands go all the way down to my quadriceps, and my voice goes as low as it can possibly go, right down the bottom of your voice. Right? And even now, I have a bit of an allergy, so my voice, the bottom of my voice is not very clear. Normally, it's almost your voice gets down the bottom, and just like it's rumbling down there. So I'm done for the day, way down there. Well, that's what that final fall is. It signals I'm done with the topic, I'm finished speaking, or maybe even more so, I'm just done. I'm cooked. I'm finished with it. All right. Okay, let's do as usual. So here you go with your training. And so basically what we're going to do is we're going to take those 1, 2, 3, 4 of the MT4s from module 6, and we'll add key to them just to practice key. So the first one is a simple fall, and this is at high key. So up here. So easy. That's easy. Really easy. That's very easy. Like you could also put on a secondary stress if you wanted to on that. Really easy. Then under beautiful is a mid key. So it's beautiful. That's beautiful. Very beautiful. That's very beautiful. And then fascinating, down on low key. Fascinating. That's, excuse me, rise, fall. Fascinating. That's fascinating. Very fascinating. That's very fascinating. Even for me doing it that time, I went down quite low with my voice, and my voice is not very clear down there, but you get the idea. Go as low as you can when you do that low key way down there, right? Fascinating. That's fascinating. Very fascinating. That's really fascinating. Something like that. And cool. Here's that final fall, going back to mid key. So it's cool. That's cool. Really cool. That's really cool. Really cool. Again, in conversation, you often don't cool, but you can feel it. Your body relaxes, your mind is relaxing, and the tone goes along with it. Yeah. All right. But here is our embodied oral reading for this week. This is a fun one. We got two people, A and B. A is excited, very excited, and B, not so much, not so excited. B is not, I don't know what B's doing, but B is having a hard day or something. So it goes like this. Start out with high key up here, about your nose level like that. So, wow. Did you see that? So we got high key. Wow. Did you see that? So we got rise, fall, and then rise in mid key. And then we've got B, and that's just a fall. That's a fall, then a final fall, those three together. So B says something like, what? That almost sounds like B is exasperated, right? What? Something like that. Okay. Then here we've got 2A, we've got high with high flat and rise fall. Then the next line, we've got a rise fall and a fall rise. So something like high key across the street. That car, it ran over our neighbor's swimming pool, didn't it? Across the street, that car, it ran into our neighbor's swimming pool, didn't it? Do that second line again. I screwed that up. It ran into our neighbor's swimming pool, didn't it? But I did that one. That was very interesting. Try this. On that long one, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 syllables. Number swim is 7. When I did it, to get it right, I almost had to use my abs to get enough air pressure to keep it going that long. I mean, actually, we could break that up into two rhythm groups with secondary stress, which I'll show you later. But that's a long one. It ran into our neighbor's swimming pool. It ran into our neighbor's swimming pool, didn't it? Here's B finally gets excited a little bit. So we got a high key, a fall rise. What? And then it drops down to mid key. The TV was on pretty loud. I didn't hear anything. Notice too that once you have a key like mid, it keeps going down the next line. You keep using mid until it changes. So, what? The TV was on pretty loud. I didn't hear anything. And you could on B at the end of B, anything could have been, I didn't hear anything. Could have gone back to another final fall as well. I don't know about B. B has a strange attitude in this one, I'm afraid. All right. Now here's A is still really excited. And so we got a rise fall, high key rise fall, and then we've got a fall. Unbelievable. The driver just took off running. Unbelievable. The driver just took off running. That's the driver just took off running. Again, it's 7. It's a long one. I'm doing that with one long rhythm group. It could be the driver just took off running. That one would be maybe just a flat. Unbelievable. The driver just took off running. See? Just took off running. Fall. Now B is getting a little bit excited, but not much, right? So again, rise, fall, and rise. So B says, here comes the police. A. Here comes the police. A. The first time I did it kind of in between mid and key. So mid, well, stay at mid key, not get too excited with it. And for A, and then we've got high key. For A is still excited. High key, rise, fall, and fall, rise. So high key. He went that way. Over there. He went that way. Over there. Again, that fall, rise up there so that A is really still excited. Over there. Ooh. Almost like, oh my gosh. It's almost more meaning added to it. And then here's B. B is still pretty calm, kind of talking like a doctor or something. So B, we just got a fall and a rise. So they'll catch him, won't they? Quite a contrast between A and B here, right? So that one then, right? They'll catch him, won't they? All right. Well, notice too that here we have the braces. What that means? The idea of the braces is that this rhythm group is louder than this one. This is the main rhythm group of the sentence. That's what that means. And here is 5A. A starts out at mid pitch. Oh my gosh. But goes right up, back up to high. So I hope so. What a mess. So I hope so. What a mess. It's mess, right? And 5B. This I have a fall. It's a high fall, but it could be almost a final fall. Ah, could be like that. But this one I said, look, they got him. So that one is, look, they got him. Oh, they got him. B did get kind of excited there, it turns out. Again, that's an example, again, what I mentioned of mirroring, right? That B is kind of syncing, connecting with the same energy, same excitement that you find in A. Same thing like that. Again, this is something too, when you're watching movies, or even if you're sitting in a restaurant watching other people talking, watch for this. The things we're talking about here, this kind of connection, this kind of mirroring in terms of same speed, same pitch, or different pitch. And oftentimes, one person really excited, the other person will be speaking slower and lower, trying to bring them down a little bit, as I'm sure you've done with your friends many times. Okay, finally, 6A. And finally, it looks like A is calmed down a little bit. So thank goodness. And then B, got a low key. B is going back to whatever B was doing before. You can say that again. You can say that again. Okay. Anyway, lots of ways to practice that one, but that really shows you, this is a good one to practice, this one. Shows you kind of how this works and how A and B are connected, which is always the case. Our communication, in fact, much of our communication goes on, real communication goes on with key and rhythm and movement of the tones themselves, not simply the words, the vocabulary that we use, of course. All right, there's one for you to practice. Here's another one. This is another one with a little bit of secondary stress. So I show you how to do it. Practice this one. So this one is, we got fall, rise. And we're going to have a rise, fall, and car. We got a fall, rise. A mini fall, rise, I told you, a little flick like that, right? Across the street, that car. Across the street, that car. Across the street, that car. That car. Across the street, that car. So across the street, that car. Right? Then B, I don't have B in it, but the next line down, then we got hump. It ran into, so where the tilde is, so it ran into our neighbor's swimming pool. It ran into our neighbor's swimming pool. Very smooth, like there's like the waves of the swimming pool, right? It ran into our neighbor's swimming pool. So again, smoother, it's flowing, kind of like a swimming pool. And here's B. We've got a fall rise and then a flick. The TV was loud. The TV was loud. So the TV was loud. What? The TV was loud. What? Mid pitch, mid key. What? The TV was loud. The TV was loud. And then this is actually is B. This is, I guess, this little quick fall rise on I. So I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear anything. So that's one where that's important that I has more energy. I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear anything. I didn't. Maybe you did, but not me. I didn't. So that is that contrast. Often when you're the stronger, secondary stress is signaling contrast. Right? Good example there. Here's another one. The loop is really strong. Strongest one is the loop. All kinds of energy in the loop. So unbelievable, right? Right? The driver just took off running. It's high key, sorry. Unbelievable. The driver just took off running. Do it again. Unbelievable. The driver just took off running. And finally, we have, here comes the police. We've got it's a thumb flick, real quick, right? It's not here comes the police, it's here comes the police. So it's going to have we've got a rise fall and a fall rise at the end. So it's here comes the police. Okay? Here comes the police. Okay, so this here is really light. Here comes the police. Okay, but it's again, if you listen to people, you can tell like how much energy they put on secondary stress pieces. And again, this here is important to it, but is not the same as here comes the police. Here, strong here, or here comes the police. This is just a little flick. Here comes the police. So the most important thing here is the police, not the timing of what is happening. So those are fun. Work on those. And again, you can even go back to the embodied oral reading A, and you can see where, remember, we have those long rhythm groups of 7 syllables. You could cut it up, and you could put a secondary stress there, or you could put a flat, one or the other. So again, well, very interesting. One last comment about that. I lived in Canada for 20 years. And one of the differences between Canada, where I grew up, where I was living in Vancouver, and where I grew up in Michigan. I grew up in Michigan. And the people in Vancouver tended to put more energy on secondary stress. And people from Michigan, for example, I might say, that's very interesting. I use the word that, just very smooth. That's very interesting. But the Canadian might say, that's very interesting. So I would hear it more often. So for me, the fact that I can hear it is more obvious, means there's some special meaning there, meaning that, but maybe not somebody else, something else. So we're always getting, at least the beginning, when I moved there, I thought people were making comparisons all the time, but they weren't. Because even though their secondary stress was louder than what I was accustomed to when I grew up, and part of that is the rhythm of their speech as well, they weren't basically doing anything different than I would if I did not have as much energy on secondary stress. So anyway, just tell you that because particularly later, as you begin analyzing your speech or those of others, when you look at it, you're trying to figure out, are those 2 rhythm groups, or is it just one rhythm group with secondary stress? One long rhythm group with some secondary stress in it, something like that. It just depends. You can hear it in people's voices, their rhythm. Okay, no, there it is. Again, good stuff to work on. And again, you might go back if you did not do lesson 6. You might go back. I think I have going back and review lesson 6 in here. Yeah, right. So today, just thanks for joining me and watching the video with me. Then tomorrow, yeah, go back and review lesson 6, embodied oral readings there. And just like we did at the beginning, or even do the embodied oral reading itself from lesson 6. That was a very good one. Then the training sessions, they're here on the on the blog post, and the embodied oral reading, both of them. There's two of them, and then always, again, especially now, anytime you hear words that you're not familiar with, or if you've been with me in the course, even as you're speaking now, you should begin to hear sometimes when your pronunciation or your stress pattern, or even your vowel in a word could be better, could be improved, or is particularly when you visualize what that vowel is, kind of what you're saying. And again, come Wednesday night, come again next Wednesday night, and we can work with you on that, on your word list. Bring your word list with you if you're coming Wednesday, and I'll be happy to let you go through it. And all of us will kind of listen to what you're doing, and we'll see what we can do. One more thing too, comment. The reason I don't record Wednesday night is that sometimes you got 4 or 5 people or more people there on screen, and you don't want. I want you to be able to feel free and act goofy and make mistakes, and I don't want a permanent record of it. I don't want people to be looking at you later, so that's why. Right? Again, if you work with me privately, then I will record the session that we do together, because we will have words there and things you want to work on. So as usual, I take Sunday off. You don't have to. Maybe that's your only day off. So move that around a bit. And again, the idea every day, the warm up, lesson, doing the lesson training sections, the embodied oral reading, target words. And again, these target words and phrases, use a butterfly in Tai Chi. Use a butterfly if it's a phrase or something. And always, of course, Tai Chi for practicing. And kind of Tai Chi, as you work with it, kind of helps bring it back into your brain and kind of smoothly work it back in. Things that you've changed. So Tai Chi is really important, what we call integrating new words into your everyday speech. A very central part of how that works. Tuesday, same thing. Again, just using the MT4s. And then this one, by Tuesday, pick a text, something that you like, something you like to read, a book, something, and see if you can't do the same. You should be able to by now. At least you should be able to use everything up through lesson 6, maybe not lesson 7, some of the key and secondary stress, some of those things, but certainly final fall and this sort of business. So the idea after this course is that you have the tools to be able to develop your own personal embodied oral readings from the things you read and things that you talk about and the things that you enjoy listening to from those things. As usual, Wednesday night, I hope you can come. If you can't, we'll miss you. But again, do a regular day with Wednesday if you're not coming Wednesday night. But if you are coming Wednesday, if you could do a regular work day, your usual, it's about a 20 minute piece. And then the evening session, particularly taking notes. So you're ready to talk to me and give me your questions or thoughts about what's going on. Anyway, as usual, there's wraction@gmail.com. And again, we're just finishing week 7. So if you've not enrolled, still not too late. I'll work out a deal with you, and we can maybe set something up to go on beyond the course a bit for you personally. We can do that. I have different ways of arranging that. Anyway, my friends, that's been fun as always. And I will see you either Wednesday night or here on YouTube next Thursday. Take care and have a great week.